Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of November 4, Monday. I'm Riza Diaz. We start off today's rush with Malacanang downplaying another alleged case of bullying by the Chinese Coast Guard against a foreign-owned ship manned by a Filipino crew. Pala says if it's not ours, it's not our business. Marlene Alcaide has the details.
In a way, it does not concern us because it's not the Philippine vessel.
This was presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo's reaction when asked about a recent incident of harassment of an alleged Chinese Coast Guard to a Liberia flag Greek-owned crude oil tanker manned by Filipino crew. Reports say the ship was near Scarborough Shoal when it received a warning from a Chinese naval warship and claimed that the area was under the jurisdiction of China. Scarborough Shoal, or Bajo de Masinloc, is a disputed territory being claimed by China and the Philippines, but it is considered part of the West Philippine Sea because it is within the Philippines' 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. Despite this claim, Panelo insists the incident is not the country's concern. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana reminded China to follow international maritime laws, to which Panelo agreed. The Philippines had won an arbitral ruling against China's claim in 2016.
Agree. And I think China should agree.
Okay.
Because China itself says that we should respect international law.
Panelo said this won't affect the ongoing negotiations between the ASEAN and China in the ongoing 35th ASEAN Summit in Thailand. During the summit, President Duterte said freedom of navigation and overflight should be observed in the South China Sea. He also pushed ASEAN to resolve territorial disputes in the South China Sea through the immediate completion of a binding code of conduct, or COC. The president said the issue must be resolved peacefully in accordance with international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. He added that it is important for the 10 ASEAN members to be united and practice self-restraint to avoid actions that may further complicate the situation.
No. What he said was the usual policy that the president has been saying all along, that every country must be rules-based, meaning we will have to respect international law. We will have to respect the UNCLOS. We cannot be forcing others to succumb to another country's power. In other words, we should be treating each other equally and fairly.
Meanwhile, China said it is ready to work with Southeast Asian countries to strive for new progress in relation to the COC in the South China Sea. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Jumping off to updates from the ongoing ASEAN Summit in Bangkok, President Duterte urged ASEAN neighbors to keep their cool and behave in dealing with matters in the South China Sea, and at the same time, defer from choosing sides in the ongoing U.S.-China trade war. Marlene Alcaide is back with this report.
Amid the ongoing trade war between U.S. and China, Duterte urges other Southeast Asian nations not to take sides to avoid being sucked into a geopolitical game. Trade Secretary Mon Lopez says negotiations on a free trade agreement between ASEAN's 10 member states and 6 Asia-Pacific partners are nearly done. Trade ministers concluded discussions on 18 out of 20 chapters of the proposed FTA deal over the weekend and are optimistic that a report may be released today. Lopez said only one country is still a bit reluctant on easing its market access. India, one of the 6 trading partners, has yet to resolve issues on the goods and services that it will allow for open access.
I-report natin sa Presidente at sa mga ibang leaders na at least coming from sa Trade Minister side, yung level po namin, malaki yung progress at halos concluded na. Pag sinabi ko halos concluded, sabihin yung mga rules at yung mga text-based ay nagka-agreehan na. So ang mga ang pending dito, may isang bansa na gustong mag-confirm pa no? Yung kung okay sa kanila lahat nung mga 20 chapters na tinapos natin. Pangalawa, yung kaya nearing completion, dahil meron pa rin mga natitirang maliliit na mga diskusyon on anong produkto, serbisyo ang pwedeng i-trade or ibebenta sa bawat bansa. So, yun yung mga fina-fine tune. Pero kaunti na lang yan. Siguro masabi nating 85% ayos na doon. So mga may ilan na lang mga produkto na mga gusto nating maipasok pa or kaya ay may nire-request din sa atin yung mga ibang bansa.
However, Lopez said the Philippines has an existing trade agreement with India, even if it decides to withdraw completely from the proposed Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. Meanwhile, presidential spokesman Sal Panelo slams those behind rumors that President Duterte did not receive a football jersey from FIFA. Last Saturday, ASEAN leaders witnessed the signing of the Memorandum of Agreement between ASEAN and FIFA and the International Football Governing Body. After the signing, ASEAN leaders were called on stage where FIFA President Gianni Infantino gave each of them personalized jerseys. Infantino seemed to skip past Duterte twice, but eventually gave him the last jersey.
Apparently, this rambunctious political opposition will not stop at anything. Every opportunity presented to it, it will use to put the president in a bad light, the more appreciated by the people of what he does. So they can always keep on trying and keep on failing. As I call them, they are incorrigible whiners and nitpickers. But we're used to that.
For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
And here are some of the day's biggest stories. The death count following the 2 earthquakes that hit Mindanao last week has climbed to 22. As of Sunday night, the NDRRMC reported that over 400 persons in regions 10, 11, and 12 were also injured, while 2 are still missing. The agency says over 35,000 families in 200 barangays in Davao and Socsargen regions are affected, and less than a fifth of which are staying in evacuation centers. Nearly 30,000 establishments and infrastructure were also damaged. Meanwhile, for residents of Barangay Poblacion in Makilala, the earthquake isn't just their only problem. That's after a fire broke out in the area over the weekend. So far, no casualties from the fire were reported, since most of the residents had already gone to evacuation centers following the quakes that rocked North Cotabato last week. Affected residents in Kidapawan are also trying their best to make do with what they have. Some were resolved to pitching tents and begging for donations in the street in the aftermath of the earthquake, refusing to go to their designated evacuation centers. Authorities note, however, that water, food, and other donations are being directed straight to the evacuation centers, and those who choose to stay in their areas of residence will have a hard time being accommodated. In Davao, a certain individual who is allegedly responsible for the operations of the condominium damage during the last week's 6.5 magnitude earthquake was arrested. Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte ordered a probe into the structural integrity of the Ecoland 4,000 residences, which left at least 9 persons injured after its collapse. Duterte said the unnamed person was arrested for disobedience to a lawful order. And here are the biggest stories from the dailies. Some residents in Cotabato have resorted to begging for food, water, and other donations after the recent multiple earthquakes that rocked Mindanao. Filipino Star Ngayon reports that some residents were carrying placards, while some attempted to stop vehicles passing by their area to ask for basic necessities. The Freeman reports that nearly 1,000 people were left homeless after fire razed Barangay San Roque in Cebu City. The fire raged on for nearly 4 hours, destroying about 80 homes and other structures before it was put out. No one was reported killed or injured, while affected residents are now temporarily housed at a barangay gym. And this from the Philippine Star. Wesley So is now a chess world champion after ruling the first ever world official random chess champion in Norway. The 26-year-old crushed Norway's Magnus Carlsen in just 29 moves off the second fast rapid games. But So, who was born and raised in Cavite, did not represent the Philippines in this tournament. Instead, he has been playing for the United States since 2014. Emotions poured over the University of Santo Tomas as examinees brace for the first day of the 2019 bar exam. Justin Punsalang will tell us more.
Cheers and applause greeted this year's bar examinees at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila. Supporters brought banners, chants, and gave tight hugs to the examinees as they make their final preparations for the first day of the bar exam. Some examinees could not hold back their tears after their family and friends showered them with overwhelming support.
We got this, faith in the Lord lang. Let's go.
Parang ka naiiyak.
Naiiyak ako overwhelming emotions. Kaya
sa family itself, dun magsa-start. Kumbaga, mahirap mag-prepare kung kumbaga hindi stable yung emotions, ganyan. Sila kasi yung magpo-provide sa'yo nung parang willpower para ma-continue. Mahirap kapag yung nerves nandun.
Likewise, some parents shed tears for their children.
Tears of joy. Kasi ang tagal na. Gusto kong maging successful naman na yung anak ko. Kasi ang tagal ko kasi hindi nakasama. Dati kasi akong OFW. Last year lang ako dumating. 20 years. Hindi ko nakasama ang anak ko. Masaya ako sa mararating na. Sana.
Meanwhile, 62-year-old Ricardo Balles enjoyed the rush of taking the bar exams for the first time.
Wala nang ibang retired na, tapos wala nang ibang magawa. Enjoyment na lang. Parang makapagsilbi ng yung mga walang perang mga taong gustong lumaban sa korte.
But apart from first-timers, so-called Hall of Famers were also present. Just like Ramon Agawa, who is taking the bar for the 5th time.
Wala. Ganun tayo eh. Hindi tayo pwedeng mag-give up eh. Hindi ako magiging abogado kung ayaw ako eh. Try and try until you become a lawyer. Dapat ganun ang mangyari eh. Dapat iba-ibang strategy pag nag-exam ka eh.
Ano po strategy niyo, sir, pa nag-exam?
Wala, sabi ko sa iyo, sa itaas, yun ang lagi kong kasama eh.
On the other hand, one examinee was barred from entering the exam room because her shoes got broken.
Ma'am, bakit nga ba sira ang sapatos natin?
Hindi ko nga alam eh. Ang ayos-ayos nito, sinuot ko pa lang tapos biglang ngayon. Ibig sabihin, swerte ako.
Fortunately, a Good Samaritan volunteered to give her his shoes just to make sure she can take the exam.
Sayang yung chance niya makapag-take ng bar exam eh. Ako, pwede naman ako mag-taxi.
Ano po yung binigay niyo sapatos, sir? Kanino yun?
Sa akin.
Sa'yo?
Oo,
So parang Nike pa yun?
Oo, okay lang. Mas malaking bagay, mas malaking mawawala sa kanila pag hindi sila nakapag-exam po eh.
Overall, the first day of the bar exams kicked off without a hitch. Over 500 Manila police have been deployed in the area to give additional security. The examinees were required to only use transparent bags to make the inspections easier. Supreme Court Chief Justice Diosdado Peralta also visited the examinees to give them a little boost.
I want that a lot of students will pass the bar exams this year because there are so many examinees now. We need lawyers, right? They studied well and they took the review well. I hope that they will be able to answer the questions. Just pray and then be patient.
More than 8,000 hopefuls are taking the bar exam this year. That's almost the same number of examinees last year, but only less than 2,000 became lawyers. The examinees will return for the rest of Sundays of this month to complete the bar exam.
Let's fast break now to Sports Rush. The Aces say no banchero, no problem. Alaska weathered Northport's late game comeback and Christiansen Hardinger's 37-point explosion. Playing without injured Robert Bolick, the Batang Pier still came so close to sealing the win. Now they diminish Alaska's 14-point lead to just 3 with around 27 seconds left in the ballgame. But Vic Manuel had other plans as he sank his charities with 7 ticks left to bag the win at 106-99.
Yun lang naman nililimay sa amin ni Coach Jeff. Talagang kailangan maglaro lang kami ng as a team. Kailangan sama-sama pa rin kami kahit ano man nangyayari. So, yun talagang binibigay namin lahat ng best namin para manalo kasi every game talaga crucial sa amin. So, yun, bigay namin talaga.
Now on to the second game where Meralco showed its arch nemesis no mercy. The Bolts overpowered the Barangay Ginebra Gin Kings 101-77 to book its quarterfinals ticket on Sunday night. The men in orange extended their winning streak to 3 games by snapping Ginebra's own 4-game winning streak. Central to that win was Meralco's Alan Durham, who pitched in 39 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a block.
You know, ultimately, I think it's just like another level of maturity, and our focus is just zoned in. You know, every week in practice, we focusing on what the coaches say in the game plan, and we just trying to get to that ultimate goal.
And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Risa Diaz. We are One News.